This is an awkward occurrence for awkward entertainment. All right, we're going to be getting into an update on the Moab murders of Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte. Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte. All right. Now, the sheriff's office in Utah have multiple people of interest in the newlywed double homicide, and they have officially ruled out Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito as suspects. Well, they have ruled out Brian Laundrie because everyone thought, not everyone, a few people thought Brian Laundrie somehow killed this couple. When Mr. Laundrie, nowhere in the story, nowhere in the story of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie was a gun ever brought up during a trip. There was never a sighting of a gun during a trip. There was never a report from anyone that Brian Laundrie had a gun during a trip. Never. So I don't understand how a few people could think Mr. Laundrie will go kill this couple. I know he was in Utah with his girlfriend, this, that, and the third, and he possibly could have came across the couple. That's not enough evidence to say Mr. Laundrie did it. Dog the Bounty Hunter came out and said there's a possible connection. If you go look back in the records, the search history, Dog the Bounty Hunter made that statement without any evidence, without putting one to one together, without using critical thinking. Dog the Bounty Hunter made that statement. So that statement helped people. That statement made people think it's possible. It put fuel to the fire of the thought, hey, it's possible Brian Laundrie could have killed this couple. But let's continue on. Sheriffs in Utah have new persons of interest. So the sheriffs have announced they have new persons of interest, as I just stated. However, they have not identified a suspect. So these people of interest could possibly become suspects. I don't believe it's more than two people they're setting their sights on as a person of interest. It's just two people, I think, in this story. One of those people, I think, is convict John Colt Freeman. Let's continue. Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner were found dead August 18th. They were murdered 4 days earlier, police believe, on August 14th. Now, police did collect shell casings and bullet fragments and video evidence. I wonder what type of video evidence did they collect? Okay, this video evidence must not have the person of interest on it. This video evidence must just be the couple talking about, we see a strange person. Now, it may say more than what we were told in the beginning, which in the beginning we were told Kylen Schulte, Crystal Turner, they made some calls to a friend. They said there's a weird person camping next to us. So in this video evidence, we may actually see this couple talking about that person in more detail whenever that video comes out. So they did find bullet casings. Let's keep that in mind. That's going to connect to a different part of the slide a little later. And again, how could people think Brian Laundrie killed this couple when he strangled his girlfriend? He didn't shoot his girlfriend. She was strangled. Like, he went on a murder spree? Really? You didn't have any logical evidence to connect him to a murder spree. But you made videos saying, hey, he killed this couple. It's possible. It was never possible. The day this couple went camping, the day this couple was murdered, it's the same day Mr. Laundrie was told by police to go to a hotel and cool off. That's the same day him and his girlfriend, Gabby Petito, were pulled over for an altercation outside of Moab, or in Moab, and were told to separate. All right. I know people are not people. The media is saying the officers who made that stop should be fired. Why should they be fired? Well, why? Gabby Petito would have been arrested if this couple wasn't separated. Gabby Petito was pinned as the aggressor in that situation that day. She was the aggressor. She would have been arrested. They gave that couple a break and separated them. If Gabby Petito was arrested, she would have got out the next day and met back up with Mr. Laundrie, and the trip would have continued. She wouldn't have went home. She would have been released how many ever days later. If she posted bail or had to wait 3 days, they would have met up, continued their trip, and she still would have died. All right, she loved this man. She was obsessed with this man. All right, let's continue. Now, this states both victims had multiple gunshots, shell casings was recovered, and there was no sign of forcible sexual assault. No sign of forcible sexual assault. Let's keep that in mind. Shell casings and no sign of forcible sexual assault. This goes on to talk about this just goes on to talk about how they no longer think of Brian Laundrie as a suspect. This is all this says. This is all this part says. So authorities have been looking into the case as a possible connection due to the proximity of all four people being in the same place at the same time. They were looking to connect Brian Laundrie to these two girls' murder because of the proximity of the four people being in the same place. However, Petito's body was found in Wyoming. She was strangled to death, and Brian Laundrie shot himself with a gun. All right. Speaking of guns, let's get into this. So one of the possible persons of interest, I think, would be again John Colt Freeman. Right now, I think he's the only person of interest. John Colt Freeman escaped from a sexual mental prison institution in Kansas. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. He was convicted of sexual battery against a woman, also charges of assaulting police officers. He was sentenced to a certain amount of years. When his certain amount of years were up, he had to go back to court. When he went back to court, they told him, "You're never getting out," and they sent him to this institution for sexual predators. They felt he was such a danger to society, they told him he wasn't getting out. All right. So he escaped from that Kansas institute and he traveled to Utah. He had to go through Colorado to get to Utah. Where does Colorado come into play? Where does the guns come into play? Where does the shell casings come into play? Let's continue. This report was done November 2021. Stolen guns may match bullet casings of Moab double homicide. A report that some firearms were stolen in Colorado just weeks before Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner were found dead near Moab shows one of those weapons is pretty unique and could match the unusual bullet casings found at the scene of the Moab couple's murder. Now, this was back in November. We have not had an update since then about those stolen guns, so we do not know if those shell casings found at the couple's murder site match the shell casings of the stolen guns of Colorado. Again, John Colt Freeman, he escaped from this institution in Kansas. He had help from employees, all female employees. He somehow wooed these employees. They fell for him, 3 of them, and they helped him escape one day. Gave him some clothes, gave him a fake badge. He went outside, hitched a ride, then hitched another ride. He had to go through Colorado. Prior to being arrested, John Colt Freeman posted photos of him with two guns. Two guns. I don't know if those two guns are the stolen guns. Somehow he got a hold of money to get guns and to get a bike. I don't think he bought these guns from a gun store. Of course, he's a convicted felon. He would not be able to get a hold of guns. If they ran his name, the gun store, they would see he had a warrant for his arrest. They would not sell him those guns. They just would not. So either he stole these guns or he bought them on the black market. If I put one and one together, Mr. John Colt Freeman stole these guns while he was traveling through Colorado on his way to Utah. This is my way of connecting John Colt Freeman to Kylen Schulte murder. Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner murder. All right. A little about John Colt Freeman. He's a sexual predator who escaped from a Kansas mental hospital. This was June 2021. He was captured in Utah. Let's go on. Let's go down. Let's stay right there. This week, authorities told the news when he was in court, John Colt Freeman stated, I guess he stated in court or to detectives, he would go on a rape spree if he ever got out, court documents said. He had hostility towards women. Let's continue. So he had hostility towards women. I guess he had mom problems. I don't know why he had hostility towards women. He had mother issues. Maybe. I don't know why. Now, in Kylen Schulte's and Crystal Turner autopsy, it was reported there were no signs of forcible rape. Now, that would mark out John Colt Freeman as a suspect because there was no signs of forcible rape. But you can rape someone without it being forcible, meaning there would be no marks on their hands, there would be no scratches on their body, and there would be no marks, scratches on the vaginal area. Some way, somehow, you can still rape a victim and there'll be no signs of forcible sex. Rape isn't always forcible sex. I mean, you're not always going to find signs of forcible sex in a rape case. You're not going to find signs. I'm pretty sure they didn't find any semen. They would have said they found semen inside these girls' bodies. They didn't find no pubics. They didn't find anything. So the only thing that would disconnect John Colt Freeman from the murder of these two would be no signs of forcible sex. But again, maybe he had sex with their bodies when he killed them. Or maybe he held the gun to him, told him to stand still while he had sex with them, while he raped them. So there would be no signs of force in that case. So you guys get what I'm saying. Now, what will connect him to this case? The fact that he's an escaped sexual predator. He traveled through Colorado. He was pictured with two guns on his Facebook page before he was arrested. He didn't buy the guns. He did have a job for a very short time when he was out. That's really it. He loved camping. He did go camping. So it's possible. It's possible. It's more likely he did it than unlikely. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if he did it. I'm just connecting the dots. Disclaimer, I don't know if he did it. I'm just connecting the dots. A violent person, hostility towards women. He got a hold of guns. He was in Utah. Stolen guns, 1 and 1. That's it, people. That's really it. Anything else I want to add to this? Anything else? Nothing else. All right. Brian Laundrie is cleared. He is cleared in the murder of the Moab couple. He had nothing to do with it. He had no guns on the trip. He flashed no guns. There were no. Pay attention to the stories. Pay attention to the stories that come out. There were no guns flashed at any restaurant. He didn't threaten any workers with guns during that trip. Nothing, nada. He strangled his girlfriend. All right. Anything else? Police say they have a specific person of interest in the Moab couple murder. I forgot the name of the article. They say they have a specific person of interest, and they also have other people, but they have a specific person, which means they have a photo. They have a good idea of who they're looking for. That may be a suspect. All right. May not be John Colt Freeman, but again, this is just to connect the dots. Anything else? No? All right, let's end this out. This is an awkward occurrence, awkward entertainment, and I will see you in the next video.